a trend is something that you hope when it's good continues. And there's a trend going on right now in the U.S. economy that is beyond fantastic. And hopefully it will have legs. You know, we argue so much as a society, and this is true everywhere, about looking at life as one of shortage and who gets what. We only think about what are the slices of the pie, and human nature, we never think about what if the pie got bigger. Well, there is a no-cost free lunch that's truly free with the economy, and it's when we become more efficient as a society. And this is in the dismal area of economics, but the stats are very clear that American industry, American businesses, both service businesses and manufacturing businesses, have had one good effect from the nightmare of COVID. And that is people had to adapt. Businesses had to adapt. You adapted or you might not have survived as a business. And people did that. They became more efficient. And out of that efficiency, we now produce the only way you create more wealth in a society. We create more goods and services per hour, per person worked than we did before by a good amount. And if that trend continues, that's what creates a wealthier society. And productivity is the magic. Productivity tied with technology. If you go back in the Wayback Machine and you go back to post-World War II, 1950, and you look at how the average American lived in 1950, almost 75 years ago, and you look at how we live now, so much is so much better than it was. And we as a society, we may have a terrible problem with income inequality, but the reality is all through, people are living much better, not because some tooth fairy put money under our pillow. We're living better because we now are able to create so much more with the same hours worked. And so this is big time stuff. We just went through almost a generation where productivity just kind of went nowhere. Why do you think people are frustrated? You take the fact that society was not generating more wealth overall, and that wealth was not being evenly distributed. You want to create unhappiness? Well, we did it right then and there. And we weren't alone in the world. And so out of all the badness of COVID, something really good may have emerged, and that is we are out of our rut and we're doing things much more efficiently in so many different businesses than we did before. It's all about learning how to do things simpler and better. An example I've given probably 3 times before now, I'm going to give again because it's so illustrative. Was there any reason we needed hundreds of different styles of toilet paper from the same brand, or dozens of different types of paper towels, or you name a product category where we were giving people more choice than the marketplace needed? And when push came to shove and manufacturers are like, okay, so we make all our real money from these top 8 sellers and these 192 others, well, they don't really do much for us, but create a lot of hassle and inventory problems and all that. Simplicity pays. Why is it? We heard about Aldi and Clark Stinks. Why is it that Aldi can sell groceries for 40% less than a traditional supermarket because they have so few SKUs, they have so few units of different products they sell. Stock keeping units is what SKU stands for, if you wonder what the SKU means. And so they sell, instead of like the thing I was talking about the other day with spaghetti sauces, that you go in a traditional supermarket and there are a zillion of them, which I now know because I can only use low sodium. And then you go to Aldi, how many do they have? They have 2, 3. And so they're able to be so much more efficient. That's one of the things manufacturers learned during COVID was, let's be more efficient. Let's not have to bring down assembly lines so we change out. We're making this instead of that and all that. And so there is a fundamental change that will fall into old habits eventually. But also in service businesses, people had to adapt or die in service businesses during COVID. And those that could adapted, and they became more efficient. Now, in service businesses, do you consider this to be more efficient or more impersonal? Restaurants now, where you can place your order yourself at what people might think of as a fancy sit-down restaurant and pay your bill yourself right from the table. Now, of course, people bring you your food, and if you want, they'll collect your payment from you. But you can do the ordering, and you can reorder drinks, and you can pay and all that. Good thing or bad thing?
I think it's a good thing. I just ate at a place like that last night, in fact. But it was sort of, they do a good job at this restaurant. The person came up to me and said, if you need anything, stick this card up. I'm happy to come by your table. They have food runners, but then there was like a server going around, and if you needed something, you could. But I did everything. I ordered on the app. I paid on the app. I was eating with a friend. We were able to each pay for our own food on the app and order our food. It was great.
And so that efficiency that also creates a certain, for many people, a depersonalization, is an example of what we've done that's made the U.S. economy more efficient. I realize not as personal, but more efficient. And that efficiency, that does create more wealth.